We are back from closed session at 6:10 PM. And can I have a motion to adjourn for our special meeting? That was at 5 PM.
Motion to adjourn special meeting.
All right.
Support.
That was motion by Wester, supported by Davis at 6:10.
All in favor?
Aye.
6:10.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I said good morning earlier, so I guess I'm woke. Good evening and welcome to our regular meeting for the Romulus School Board. Today is Monday, July 29th, and the time is 6:10. Can I have a roll call, please?
Here.
Sorry, Davis,
Here.
Piles,
Present.
McCarthy,
Present.
Evans,
Present.
Wester, Kennard,
Hardy?
Laster.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, thank you. We are at number 2, acceptance of agenda. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the July 29th, 2024 meeting agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been motioned by Laster, supported by Davis. Oh, not for the consent. Oh, no worries. Listen, get me together, Eve, if I need to be. Okay, so it's motioned by Laster and supported by Davis.
Evans,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Piles.
Yes.
Wester is yes. Davis
Yes.
and Laster.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And we are at public comment.
We have none.
Okay. We are now at the consent agenda. Be it resolved that the Board of Education. Oh, I'm so sorry, Ms. Dunn. I apologize. See, I was just seeing was they awake. Let's go back. I am. So we have Ms. Dunn coming up for her presentation for the RECC. So sorry about that.
No problem. Good evening, good evening. All right, how to turn this on? Okay. Good evening, Board. Good evening, Dr. Ben. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leila Dunn. I'm the supervisor for Romulus Early Childhood Center. I am a Romulus resident, so this is my community. I've been here for 24 years. I've worked in the building for the past 12 with the Romulus Head Start, and I'm finishing my first year around the sun here with RECC with the Great Start Readiness Program. So this is a little bit of, this will be our slide here. So with the Romulus Early Childhood Center, we're the GSRP program. Of course, I work closely with Wayne Risa. They oversee a lot of the program. Here is a list of my staff. Right now I have around 21 staff members on board. My admin assistant is Sandy Solgat. She's my right-hand person. My lead teachers, my assistant teachers, support staff. These are a few of my teachers, Miss Robin, Miss Jenny, Miss Brittany, Miss Peggy, Miss Cervantes, and in the middle, our last day of school, that was us just having fun. So I collaborated with the person who did our pictures for the event in August for the district. So he was out and we had a little bit of fun on our last day, so that's some of my staff. Our RECC Early Childhood Center, so our mission is to create an inviting, nurturing, diverse, safe environment for all children and their families, providing a curriculum that focuses on the child as a whole, striving to be intentional teachers and provide children with developmentally appropriate practices, provide an environment that will support each child's social, emotional, which is very important for me, physical and cognitive development, give children opportunities to learn and explore through their own interests and continue scaffolding knowledge for their future life skills. So that is our mission for our pre-K program. Right now, RECC, we are funded and we enroll 108 children in the GSRP program. High results, so Okay. We also have the Smart Start classroom. That is one classroom that services 16 children. That is for our 3-year-olds, and that is a tuition-based program. So that is separate from our GSRP. So a total, we can have 124 children enrolled per day in our building. This school year, 61 of the children were identified as RCS students by location, by address. We had 48 students committed or enrolled RCS for elementary, kindergarten for 24-25. And our program services all of Wayne County, so it's not just Romulus and so we use the high scope curriculum within our program. We run Monday through Thursday, 8:15 to 3:15 per day. So our GSRP implementation manual, we must provide at least 7 hours. Our children are served breakfast, lunch, and snack. Our ratios are 1 to 8. Our GSRP teachers have to have at least a bachelor's. If they do not have a bachelor's at the time, they must have at least an associate in compliance plan with Wayne RESA. We have our outdoor activities. We have a gross motor room. We also have an activity center. We have a full-size gym. And it is a free state-funded program for all the families that qualify. The data that, the assessment tool that we use to create our data for our programs is, we call it Core Advantage. It's child observation records. We call it Core Advantage. Basically, we have 8 different domains. It assesses early childhood development from infancy through kindergarten age in 8 different content areas. So as soon as the children are enrolled, teachers then score children throughout the year. We have 3 different scoring periods, and we look at those domains, and children are scored between like 0 and 7. So our goal is to see progression throughout the year. And they assess them by using core anecdotal notes. So teachers will take daily anecdotal notes on children in those different areas. So this is a core benchmark report. So you can see, so the dark blue is children within the program that scored below average. Medium blue is meeting the benchmark, and the light blue is above average. So that's our totals. This is just one classroom of a snapshot here. At the end of period 3 is when we finish all of our scoring for the year.
This is at the end of the year?
Yes, this is period 3, so we stopped taking our last benchmark notes in May. And when you see some like the lower, the below average, those are things that we look at then. You look at the children, how many children are enrolled with maybe an IEP with special services, so their score sometimes may fall lower in there because of their ability to reach higher levels, and we meet them at their needs. This is just a total of the whole center in the 8 areas. Dark blue is time 1, medium blue is our second scoring, and then our light blue is our third core data report numbers. So we demonstrated growth in each scoring period this school year. This is another graph that was just created by my ECS at Wayne RESA, Brittany Kay. So this is just some data that she collected. They also have access to all of our information at RECC. So this is another graph that she supplied with us that we did for a data training with our staff. So again, you see the continuous growth, and that's exactly what we're looking for, is to see those graphs continue to grow each scoring period. Some of our highlights of this year. Those of you who've been to RECC, I don't know if anyone has, but there's a courtyard there that has not really been utilized for several years. There was a pond there that hasn't been working either. They've tried several times to get it working. But you can see in my second picture that it was very overgrown. Some of the weeds were probably taller than I was, that I am. And so when I became a part of Romulus Community Schools, I knew then that I would be able to use that courtyard. So I collaborated with the National Kidney Foundation So what they're doing, there's a grant, so the whole goal is that it would become a farm to table for preschool children. So we've been working diligently, so you can see that on the right-hand side, this is where we're at today. Two of the student interns graciously helped me lay 5 yards of mulch a few weeks ago. So on the right here, we have our flower beds in, we have things planted, we're slowly getting the furniture and everything out there. One of the Romulus police officers built us a garden bed by himself and had it donated to the site. So that's one of our vision. We have some things planted right now. Our summer enrichment program, some of the children are responsible for watering it. They don't like to do all the plants, so I get stuck doing that. But, so today we went out, planted some green beans, so they're watching them grow. So this is one of our highlights of the garden, again, collaborating with the National Kidney Foundation. We did our Bring Your Child to Work Day. So that was exciting for me because in the past, it's not been something that's been available in my current role. Dr. Ben was very supportive and allowed that. So several of my staff were able to bring their children to work. We had an activity book. All the children went from teacher to teacher, had them autograph it. They talked about what they wanted to do when they grew up. So we gave them an opportunity. I think we had a total of 9 children come. So that was a really fun day at the site. And each child got a certificate and lunch. March was our reading month, and our guest reader, we had Miss Calloway from WIC. As you can see, she was reading the foot book with her foot up in the air. So she was one of our guest readers. And on the right, another one of our guest readers was Miss Beatty from Barth. And then we also did a thing for our children, like we did top readers, trying to get them involved. And so our 2 top readers, Colin and Brooklyn, were able to pick out books and things to go along with that. We actually had probably about 7 winners, but not all of our children signed for media release. So out of respect, I can't use their pictures. Staff appreciation was fun this year. I tried to acknowledge staff, so we had our bulletin boards up, and in the middle is one of our pictures with our one of our classrooms, and just, appreciating our teachers and staff. I love presentations, so I was so excited when Dr. Gardner had the cappuccino, when we got invited to that. So I loved the cappuccino, so that was really fun. We brought it back to try to get people involved. So just another touch for teacher appreciation and staff appreciation. Some reflections from 23-24. So we had different individuals respond. Laura Poxon is from Wayne Risa. She is actually my early childhood specialist who oversees the daily operations of the program. And then we had some parents respond and some students. So Laura Poxon is, this is her first year in her role, my first year in my role as the supervisor for GSRP. Her response was, I have seen Leila come into GSRP with the vision to support the students, families, and teachers. She has been able to implement her vision and continues to do what is best for children. And one of my main visions coming in that they supported me with was creating an environment that's safe for parents and staff. I mean, to have a parent room, a staff room, a mental health room. So we've been working on that vision. Again, some students and teachers. The other reflection that was important to me is in purple on the bottom. This was by a staff member, did not give their name. And it said, I feel this year has been my most challenging year as a teacher dealing with challenging behaviors. I feel I have grown as a teacher due to additional support with understanding trauma and identifying the meanings behind the behavior. And that's something that we're really, really experiencing, especially in 2023, 2024. I'm seeing the numbers increase on it, so we're really trying to focus on helping the teachers and training the teachers on what does trauma look like. And one of the things that's very important for me is social emotional, the well-being of children. And what I've been training my staff is that you cannot discipline trauma. So we have to understand trauma. We have to understand what's behind the behavior. So that was really, when I read that, that was like, wow. So I was really happy to see that, that a teacher grabbed onto that too, and it is identifying trauma in children and how we can work with those behaviors. This, another reflection, this is from Cindy Mullen with the special service team, who I work very closely with. She's at my site. I'm stationed there with her special service team. We've worked really well together, and she's a crucial part of just identifying issues with children and some concerns or some special services that children need, and really has a wealth of knowledge with her team on how do we implement strategies in the classroom, and how do we help the teachers as well know how to put in place things that are going to help all different children in our classroom. End of the year family fun day, we were able to bring out the farm, so we had real life animals for the children. Our little broccoli head, that's Reggie Rainbow, that goes apart with our National Kidney Foundation collaboration. So Reggie Rainbow is a program, it's also a grant. So all teachers get materials, books, all based around healthy eating, fruits, vegetables. Reggie Rainbow is the superhero. So Reggie Rainbow visited us that day as well. Bluey visited us with some of our teachers and staff, so Bluey was a big hit. We had face painting, and the reason I chose this picture too is this is one of our former parents, Dominique. So she started an early Head Start years ago, was a Head Start parent years ago, then had children who became in the GSRP program. So it's a family that we worked with, elevated, supported, and now she has a very successful business. So, just bringing individuals who have been a part of our programs, but now supporting them in their business, and she's phenomenal. Last day of school, again, with our science parents, we put that out. Parents love that. It was like, pretty much parents tag, you're it. This is one of my students to the right, with permission for social media, who literally came to my office every single day and would not leave without hugging me goodbye. So she's in our summer enrichment program, and she's in a different classroom, and the mom loves it because she doesn't walk by my office. So the mom's like, I don't have to stop every day for her to hug you. I can get out the door. But this is just a really special little girl. So this was our last day of our fun day. It was a wrap. And this is our pre-K transition to RCS kindergarten, something that I've been working with all year, but as we move forward with, developing that relationship with kindergarten, the principals. So one of our 2024-25 plan is that my admin assistant, which is Sandy Solgat, will identify RCS children through using the address locator on the RCS website. A spreadsheet will be created and shared with elementary principals. We did do that as well this year. It was more an idea that I came up with. We went through that, but we're going to tweak that, make that a little bit more user-friendly and get that out earlier in the year. So all principals will be aware how many children are at RECC, and that will be going to their elementary. Our ECC staff will encourage enrollment for RCS kindergarten during parent-teacher conferences. So that's another thing we're starting this year, is we're building that relationship immediately. So one of the things that we'll be doing is, Dr. Ben, when he visited the site, he saw that. So I have a kindergarten table. It was for enrollment. We put that probably in early March. And then there was some information sheets that I found on each principal. I spoke with Sarah Good. Sarah Good updated those. So we have a table out that has every principal, their own pamphlet with their picture and information on their school. So children will now start getting that at the beginning of the year. So we're building that immediately. This is where your child will be. This is the pathway to kindergarten, and this is the school that you will be assigned to with your demographic area. So we're going to do that, starting parent-teacher conferences. That's on my agenda for when staff return. We will host a Meet the Principal Week in April. That did not happen this year. That is on my plan for next year. And then in May, RECC students will have the opportunity to visit. That has taken place in the past. So we're going to do that again this year, and where students will actually take the bus and go to that elementary school as well. And we're hoping to have that scheduled for May. Again, here's what I was just talking about. Here's a little bit of my table. So I had my enrollment up for a couple months. In the middle is my flyers for each elementary school with the principal's information attached. There's several flyers so parents would take them. And then, of course, we supported the festival, kindergarten festival weeks throughout the year. So we had that in a frame so that, again, parents sometimes look again at the presentation. They see a frame, so they look. So this is a little bit of, some information behind the scenes of what we're doing to support that relationship and to retain our Romulus students. This summer, I've had 4 summer enrichment student interns, Miss Mariah, Miss Naima, Miss London, and Miss Sydney. So they have been a lot of fun. This has been a fun experience. And on the right, you just see one of our interns, Sydney. She's interacting with one of our students here. Summer enrichment continued. We had our ice cream social. Again, the intern, you'll see 2 of the pictures of interns, though they were working with the children engaged in the classroom. And to the right, before we laid our beautiful mulch down, is our 2 of our students going on. We did an experiment with radishes because we knew that would grow the easiest to see if we were onto something. So that we were able to harvest our radishes. I can't say that we could eat them. But, so that is the beginning stages of our garden. So we've been working diligently in there, in our garden, and we have a lot of stuff planted. So our students who will be enrolled in the fall will be able to go out there and harvest what's being planted with our summer enrichment children. That's it. Any questions?
Madam President?
Yes.
So what is there any talk of Young Fives coming into your building? And what do you see for the Young Fives future program? We're one of the few districts around that don't have it. How could we grow from that?
Well, so again, so our pre-K, our GSRP is state-run, state-funded, and, you know, with Wayne Risa, so it's not where I believe Early Fives, correct me if I'm wrong. So Early Fives would be with the school district, I believe. So that would be I mean, we could house in the same building because it's an early childhood building, but the Young Fives would not be something that I would be able to go in and to incorporate or direct, because mine is strictly the 4 to 5 for pre-K.
Do
or
you
GSRP.
see the volume out there for Young Fives in our community?
You know what, even looking with our numbers, this year, we probably had 5 to 6, something called them the window babies that, you know, were the October birthdays, late September. We have some pushback from parents. They don't like that Young Fives, or possibly going, you know, staying into the GSRP, because depending on their birthday, they could actually stay that following year. So out of the 62 children that we had in our district, well, let's just say 108. We had 108 total. Out of those, possibly 10% would have qualified for a possible Young Fives.
Okay. All right, so if we had 10% of if we could grow 10%, just roughly, that would be 10 per year that could grow into, you know, it could be another class, and every year we could grow with Young Fives. How much space do you have in your building?
Right now, so the REC, it's a complete early childhood building. So the west wing, no, the east wing is GSRP. Wait, am I east? I'm sure photography. So the west side of the building is our GSRP. So that is the district, you know, that oversees with Wayne Reese. So that's our 4- and 5-year-old program. And the Smart Start 1 classroom, that's tuition-based. The other end of the building is the federally funded program, Head Start, and Early Head Start, which has been in Romulus for many, many years,
Right,
but
right.
has been in that building since 2012. So right now, every room in the building is being utilized under the current leases and everything. We have like a storage room, and I mean, we could take away a room, but it would take away possibly an activity center. So in the future, as we project, I mean, there's sometimes always room for a shift or whatever the need is in the district.
Would you see Young Fives in your buildings, or would you see it at the elementary levels?
You just want my opinion?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so I mean, again, it's an early childhood building. Our rules and regulations, you know, we're following a child care LARA licensing. So I wouldn't be following per se the public school or Romulus Community Schools guidelines, because I would still be under that child care license. So that could cause a little bit of a difference just with the rules and or the requirements. So that would have to look into like public school, the community school, and then young fives, who would oversee, who could supervise. But that building being utilized, and I see where you're coming, so that building actually being utilized for all early childhood in the community is a beautiful, perfect building. But right now, it is being utilized by three
By that
different
program, the
for right now.
programs, right, okay. All right, thank you.
Any other? Ms. Powles?
Thank you for that. That was a lot of great information, and thank you for lifting the importance of understanding trauma when approaching children and helping grow them. What is the difference, other than tuition-based, between the GSRP and the Smart Start?
So the GSRP program, so we follow the Great Start to Readiness Implementation Manual that comes down from the state. So that is all your 4- and 5-year-old pre-K. So they have a huge implementation manual that we follow. So that's our bylaws, that's our guidelines, that the services we have to provide. So there's no way around it. That is specifically how our GSRP program is run and implemented daily. The Smart Start Classroom is a separate tuition-based program that can be run just like a child care center,
Okay.
per se, room. We do still utilize the high scope curriculum that was advertised on that when I came on board. So that's my expectation, is that even though it's a tuition base and it's separate from that implementation manual, my expectations of quality, so we are doing the high scope curriculum, we are doing the core assessment. The difference is that it's 3 to 4 year olds. So really what's happening, Debbie, is that they're transitioning from that Smart Start into the Great Start to Readiness program
Okay.
when they're age eligible. But it's
Okay.
that difference with childcare versus that Wayne
Sure,
Risa.
okay. My other question is the 1-to-8 ratio, is that mandated by the state or Wayne
You know,
Risa?
You can, the numbers are changing with Wayne Risa, so, I'm sure you heard of My Leap. Some things are changing with some regulations due to staffing issues, staffing shortages, space in buildings as people are renting and moving forward with GSRP. They're actually wanting to change that to 1 to 10.
Okay, yeah, because the reason I'm wondering is because I know that there were 5 lead teachers listed, so to qualify as a classroom, does there need to be a lead teacher, or can an assistant have a class?
So under the GSRP manual, you must have a lead teacher that's certified.
Right.
Then you have a teacher assistant. The way that the manual was in the past could be tweaked is that if you had more than 16 children, then you have a third support person.
Okay.
And that's the model that we're following right now at
Okay,
this time.
that makes sense, thank you. And then, do we provide transportation for GSRP?
We do not. They have tried that in the past, but right now that is not something that's being offered. But there is availability in the future for a transportation grant.
Yes, and I know that was something, when I had spoken with them at Wayne Risa, that's allowable. Do we have families who come in and inquire but aren't able to participate because of transport?
Not too much.
Okay, so then
I
that's,
think last year we had 2 families.
okay. And then my last question is, did any of the students who are going into kindergarten this year, were their families given re-enrollment packets yet, or do they still need
So are you
re-enrollment?
talking
Or,
about
I'm
with-
sorry, enrollment packets for kindergarten? Yes,
So that's not done on site, so a lot of that was started online. I know, like with Kathy Andrews, so we did not have any enrollment packets on site. We had all the information, and we would guide them how to go online, and they had computers and everything available at our building as well.
oh, okay, so
Just-
there's,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
we have
So
parent
computers
laptops
are
as well.
set up.
Yep.
That's great. And did anybody take advantage of that and enroll?
Yeah, Sandy has worked hand in hand with several of the parents to make sure, because there was some confusion of choosing schools,
Sure.
not maybe wanting to go to a different elementary. So Sandy's been working hand in hand with those.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. I just wanted to apologize for skipping over. I appreciate your heart, compassion. You can tell you're the right person for the job.
Thank you.
And the foundation starts, I'm a product of Circle of Friends. So I remember Miss Karen, who I had when I was on Beverly Road. So thank you for what you're doing, and hopefully we can continue to grow the program. So it's just a pipeline. So
And again,
thank
like, I'm a proud parent of a 2005 and 2008 Romulus graduate.
Thank you for coming back. All right. We are now at the consent agenda. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the July 29, 2024 consent agenda as amended. Matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the report of superintendent. Under the report of the superintendent portion of the agenda. A, the approval of minutes of the Board of Education, July 15, 2024, regular board meeting. B, approval of personnel actions as submitted by Human Resources Director Kevin Brock. Employment, Hannah Gridley, ELA teacher at Romulus High School. Daniel Crawley, ELA teacher at Romulus High School. The removal of Clinton Crace, special ed resource teacher at Romulus Middle School. Christina Allen, fourth grade teacher, Wick Elementary School. And Whitney Briggs, special education resource teacher at Wick Elementary. It's been motioned by Laster, supported by Powles.
Madam President?
Yes.
I would like to request, have we had any resignations or terminations as far as employment?
So-
I requested that that be added to the agenda, and I don't see any.
As it relate, like an official request, or?
I'm sorry, I had asked it at the last meeting that it was, or the last meeting that I attended, that in the past, we had seen resignations in this section
Okay,
and terminations, and we aren't seeing that any longer.
okay. I did inquire about the resignations, and due to the nature of where resignations can lead with like information about the employees and the matter of the resignation, it was told to me by legal that it wouldn't be a best practice to put it on the agenda, but what I can do is have Mr. Brock, and I've discussed with him, to send an email of the resignations for the month, if that's something that could be.
That's good, because I also requested in the Google Sheet, the beginning of the number of staff at the end of a year ago, June, then the following September, and the number of staff at the end of this school year, and I've yet to get that information in the Google Sheet.
So like the number of staff that we left off with at the end of the year.
Correct,
So-
a year ago, June, and
Okay.
then starting with after the summer for September, and then what we're ending with now in June.
Okay. I wasn't privy to that, but I can make sure that,
It's in the Google Sheet, that, and I haven't had an answer to that.
okay. I will make sure that Mr. Brock circles back to the Google Sheet, so that's answered. And then in regards to the resignation, the resignations, those can be given out. It just won't be in the, okay,
Thank you.
no problem. And that was supported by myself and Powles. Roll call, okay.
Davis,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Bernard. Evans,
Yes.
Piles,
Yes.
Wester is yes, Laster.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
thank you. We are now at the report of the superintendent by Dr. E.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. Just a couple of updates here. My cabinet last week, last week we traveled to Woodhaven High School as well as Flat Rock High School to look at their welding program. There was our Director of Operations, our Director of HR, our Director of Special Services, our Director of Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development. We also had our consultant, Brenda Belcher, and we also had Mr. Seth Petty, Principal. So we visited those two programs because that's something that we're looking at doing right now. We've gotten the state gave us $1.6 million last year, and we wanted to make certain that we're moving in the right direction. I believe that we will be visiting one more school. But it's impressive. It's very impressive. The meetings that we had, or the meeting that we had at both schools, very informative. It's not that easy just to implement it. We can implement it, certainly, but we heard it's the most difficult thing is to hire, to find someone in the welding program. And what's going on in the county is that people are plucking other people's employees. It's just how it is. So that was one of the things that they talked about, is if we want to do that, that's something that we really need to think about. We also put money together, we also need to contact our architect to talk about ventilation, because they told us the first step you want to do is make sure that you have the cost for the ventilation and that, you know, that you're headed in the right direction, or that your system can support the ventilation system. So I was very excited. I mean, very excited. I think we were all excited about that, to come back, because, you know, we want to make certain that we can be a viable CTE program with offerings such as welding. We're looking at the skilled trades, and there's a lot of money to be had, evidenced by going to Woodhaven and Flat Rock, seeing how big their programs are and how successful they are. That's the consortium in the Downriver Consortium. That's why they're able to do that. We're not a part of that. In fact, I believe it was Flat Rock. No, it was Woodhaven that took the welder from Wayne Westland. So you have a lot of that that's going on, and you know, school districts are making it a priority. So we want to certainly make certain that we give our kids the opportunity. For me, in my role, I think it would behoove me to talk to parents as a whole, so that they understand what we're trying to do here and the commitment that is involved. You know, the issue with the CTE program is when you have kids that participate but don't finish. Okay, you get no funding for it or anything, and that's not just it about funding. It's about making certain that they finish the program. So we'll be talking to you more about that, this opportunity. I think I'm going to go to Randolph High School in Detroit. They have a CTE program, particularly with the skilled trades. So I'm going to see if I can get my team to go visit there as well, so that we could just see another one in action. So you'll be hearing about that in the coming weeks in particular. There is no rush for me to just throw something together and have it not be launched correctly. So, you know, we got to get a plan. We'll get a plan. We'll come to the board and talk to you about the plan as well, and why we think it's the right plan for us. I just wanted to share that with you. In June, we had a superhero program. I forgot the real name for it. There's a real name for it, but that the board approved, where our students are in summer school and they're writing stories, superhero stories. I've been in there three. I've been in the class 3 times during the summer school, and that's at the middle school. And that program is coming to an end, as is summer school for students. This Thursday, it's over. But Dr. Robertson sent me an email that she wanted me to pass to the board, so I will make sure I pass that to you, cordially inviting you to come and see the program. Again, the last day is Thursday. Something that I know that I'm going to share with you now is that Channel 4 is coming to do a story as well. So, you know, if you get a chance, I hope that you come. Certainly not for the Channel 4 story, but just to come and see what the program is about, and see our kids engaged in it. So I would encourage you to do that, and you will get an email from me tomorrow. Update on the golf outing. To date, we have $30,000 in sponsorships that are committed, of which I believe $28,000 we actually have. I'm very excited about that, very excited. You know, I have a great committee, and we have a lot of sponsors. We have some of our vendors, we have some of our public, we have some Chamber of Commerce, businesses. So I'm thrilled, and we still have 2 weeks left. We have 32 teams committed, but we have 29 teams that have paid out of 36. So it's going to be packed. It's going to be absolutely packed in there. I encourage you to come. We have some giveaways. We have a number of things. I'm hoping that the board will get to Ms. Bales, if you can get I don't know if you all have had that conversation yet, but a basket from the board that we can get to Ms. Bales and auction that off too. I'd be pretty excited about that. But I encourage you to come. It'll be after our next meeting. Our first meeting of the month is August 12th, and then August 13th is the Birdies for Eagles. So if you can come, I'd love to see you. If you can't, I understand. Trustee Ebbets and I had a conversation on a phone with the property, geez, what's the word I want to say? The purchaser? Thank you. The purchaser of the
attempt purchaser.
Yeah, the attempt purchaser of the real estate. Now, of course, you can go on a closed closed session and talk about this, but, you know, I talked to, no,
Selling, we can for
No, not-
purchasing, but not for selling.
what do we?
If we're purchasing
Oh,
property,
okay.
then yes, but
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. But in terms of the property, we have two opportunities here. I guess I'll say it this way, because we do have an attorney, and I have an attorney in particular because this piece of property continues to get tripped up. So basically, it was said today, we can do a 90-day extension, and if you do that, then you really don't have to worry about any more legal fees until you get to the end, okay, with a $40,000 earnest money. Or we can walk away from it now because we did not close on time, and that's our choice. But I made the,
can I correct you? It was not our choice to close on time. They did not have the closing, they did not have the funding, correct or
they
incorrect?
did not have the funding. So we pushed it out because I didn't have the paperwork either. So all the paperwork is not done on our part. So we pushed it out a week, and it still has not been done. The purchase still has not been yes, it has not been completed. So the thing that, the other thing is that we can walk away. There is earnest money of $20,000, but that is something that they absolutely can tie up in court. So that would be legal fees. So I wanted to share that with you for those two options as it was stated to me today from the attorney as to which one that you think would put us in the best shape. Trustee Ebbets and I, you know, we also talked to the realtor who had stated that potentially he has another buyer, and I know she knows who the buyer is, and we've been through that one too. So I'm stuck. I have my own, I have my own thoughts on it, but I'm gonna just,
So
that
here's
go.
what Dr. Edmondson and I and trustee Kennard, we all talked to the realtor, and then the buyer, the current interested buyer, contacted Dr. Edmondson, who got me on the phone, and we did a conference call. Trustee Kennard was not available at the moment. And basically, I said, if you want this, prove to me you've got the financing, because right now, we don't know anything about you. Because then he said, well, we do, we've got some private financing, and then we're gonna do some fundraising, and I can probably get you a letter saying that we qualify. Well, no, then, don't mean to be rude, but you've had 10 months? We'd signed in October to get this organized. They haven't done all of their due diligence, and now they're blaming us because it got broken into and we didn't have power. Okay, that's fine, but how many months did you have the ability to get in there before that? Also, we had a commitment from the realtor that there would be insurance on the facility. Come to find out they didn't get insurance on it. So who's dropping the ball here? Okay? I say, let's see our other options. The other option we have has been around for several attempts to buy this. He was within a month of closing, and then his board of directors said, no, we're not interested. We don't have the money. Well, now lo and behold, they have the money. So we're waiting to get that letter saying that that his board supports the purchase, and yes, they do have the money. Basically, what we're looking at is a piece of property that, yes, we want to sell. People, they're interested in it, but who's really jumping to get it, right? And if nobody's willing to get it, and we're offering another, it just cringes me to think that we're going to do a land contract. Because every time we get into a land contract, we're stuck with the electricity, we're stuck with the water bills, we're stuck with anything that they have decided to do, including partial demoing of the building that happened with the last one. So, we have been burned 3 times on land contracts with this property. And it's probably cost us $100,000 for those land contracts total, not individually, but total. So I know what my opinion is, but it's up to this board to determine what we want to do. I mean, Trustee Kennard, you were in the meeting.
Well, the only thing I could say to the board is that during my tenure on the board, first coming to this board, there were some things at the table where land contracts were in place, and it did not work out at that particular time with the board. And so looking back at that and looking at what we're faced with here, we even had a counter, and I don't think I'm privileged to speak what the counter was to that, but we did approach them with something else, and we found out that that was not in the best interest of the district for us to bring it to the board. But in terms of a land contract, you have to understand the legal litigations that's involved in that, and do we really as a board want to become another landlord with the property that we've tried for several attempts to disregard it and sell it. So I'm not trying to waver your vote or your conversations to either or not, but to give you some information pertaining to the historical piece of it in terms of the district and what we've had to encounter in the past. And to be quite frankly, I agree with all the conversations that I've had with Dr. Edmondson and with Sue Everson pertaining to what we've done. You know, it's just like buying a piece of property when you're buying a home. Either you got the funds or you don't. We've made a lot of accommodations and waited. So it's up to the board in terms of if you want to extend it beyond what you've heard here today.
Yes.
Dr. Edmondson, you said that we could wait for 40,000 of earnest money, but is that 20 already put down?
Yeah,
So
it'd
we're
be
waiting on
40
the other
total,
20?
40
or
total, yes, another 20.
Okay. And is that the buyer that's interested in land contract?
Same.
Okay. And then the other buyer, Ms. Evans, you said that they are claiming that they can get a letter from the board that,
From their
Correct,
board.
from their board.
right,
That
correct.
they have,
That they have
that
the
the
funding.
board is interested in this property, and that they would they have the financing.
So, and this is the potential buyer that was interested some time ago?
Year and a half, 2 years ago.
Okay. So I guess my questions would be, well, one, my 2 cents is that we're an educational institution, not a real estate, not into real estate and leasing and renting and all that, and we have been burned since we've all sat on the board, and before any of us sat on the board, that was a problem. But again, it would be good if we could get rid of that, so whatever the board agrees to, if committee members can just bring back what the timeline is, what the expectations are, so that if the potential buyers are not meeting that, we can move forward. Is this property still remaining listed?
Yes,
Okay.
as far as I know, correct, Dr. Edmondson? It's still listed, right?
As far as I know, yes.
And do we have any insurance on it right now?
Well, what I was going to do actually is what I had hoped to do. I didn't want to necessarily do it now, but we have Ray Holt, who's been instrumental in going back and forth with Mr. Perkins, between the two of them going back and forth, and I thought maybe they would give us a little bit of an update. Didn't have to do it now, didn't think about that. But those two are instrumental. They could tell you what we have, what we don't. Like you said, I'm not in that business, but they know a little bit more than I do in terms of that.
And-
Yes, are you,
Or
you
maybe
two
that could
gentlemen?
be an email update, so we don't advertise to the public?
Right,
and-
that's what I didn't.
we
I
have or
didn't
don't
want-
have?
I didn't want-
Yeah. But if we could get that, just so we can get updates on this.
Dr. Edmondson,
do
you
a
made the,
workshop.
you made the comment that there's $20,000 and then you said we wouldn't get the $20,000 earnest?
Yes, she said, it's not that you wouldn't, she said, but they can fight you, or they can absolutely fight you. And she said, sometimes that may not be worth it.
Yeah.
But the $20,000 was supposed to go into an
know, I know.
escrow account, correct?
Thought it was
That's what it
earnest money.
says.
And did
But
it?
she's very, I would imagine, I don't know. I don't know if it did, but I know that she was like, you know, sometimes you read some things and you think that you know what's best. And she said, but what happens is that by law, they have another 15 days to be able to still close it. And she said, and they can also fight you for the earnest money. And then she said, it's our choice. Do we want to? And she said, and it's not necessary that they're going to fight you, but they might.
I think after the conversation with this guy, they would.
So did I, because he started out that way with us.
Right. So, again, it's a sad situation that you put the trust in the situation. I'm not even going to say that you put the trust in individuals, but you put the trust in the situation that we're going to have insurance. They are going to do their due diligence. They're going to get their appraisal. And wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, nothing's done. So, you know, and again, funding
was
is
just gonna say-
fundraising and different things.
Best laid intentions, we all have those, and sometimes they just don't work out, so, yes. So, I can come back, I mean, but time is of the essence here because we need to move forward. I just wanted to give that update. and
Do we
say-
have to do a motion to determine what we're going to do with it, or is this just a conversation?
This is a conversation for me, because I said I would give an update today based on what I just got today, too, from the attorney. She said, "You can do this one?" And one of the things she said is, you know, you got 90 days. If it sits there for 90 days, then is there really, she didn't say, is there really a difference? But if it's 90 days and we get it done, as opposed to 90 days and it's sitting there and nobody, we don't have a buyer, then what?
Do we have an update from Bob regarding,
He sent, did you get that? No, he sent me an email today. He's like, let me know what you want to do because the other buyer's ready.
okay,
We've
again,
been there before.
yeah.
Since this is not on the agenda, just your little update, we will make sure that we will, thank you for the information because I'm still, like, with Merriman, I don't know a lot, but I'm learning, so thank you for the update and hopefully soon because it seems like time is of the essence. We need to get moving on it.
Yeah, so I'm going to move forward. Just Brats Barbecue and Back to School, if you'd like to be, I'm going to send something out. If you'd like to be on that committee, please let me know. I can pretty much tell you we only had it once, but it was the Saturday after Labor Day. I would expect that to be the same, but we don't have any plans in terms of what are we going to do, what type of activities, that kind of thing. So I'm going to be putting that out to the district this week. Please, if you'd like to be a part of that, I would love to have you there too. Last couple of things, just, I put this out before, but I'm pretty excited that we have some fresh ideas, maybe fresh classes. I mean, whether it's teacher cadet, we have posted for a foreign language class too in the middle school, hoping that kids will get foreign language before they get to high school because they need to have foreign language before they get to high school because it can count as credit. Foreign language credit. Instrumental elementary music, that was from 2 or 3 years ago. That was the plan, and now we've gotten it. We've ordered the instruments. I know that we have a teacher or two for that. And then we also have the smart labs. So there's a little bit of excitement, not too much stuff going on. But, you know, I put out an email, so hopefully you've read it, and then you can get an idea of some of the things that we're doing here. Also, to Ms. Dunn, who was there, Mr. Graham told me that there's a $100,000 increase in GSRP funding. So, yay for you. That's coming. And then the last thing for me that I just wanted to say to the board, you know, we have new leadership here, and you all have, you're on committees and things. I truly look to the policy committee because I just feel that we have to have a promotion, placement, and retention policy. I just still say, not just our district, but what are we doing when we just send kids forward who don't have the skills? If we don't set a level of expectation, a performance expectation, and even if they don't perform, then there should be, okay, if this doesn't happen, then this has to happen. If this doesn't happen, then the last thing that happens is this. But I'd like us to be one of the districts that's, I mean, I'd say bold. I don't think other districts are bold about it, but it's not like you want to fail a whole bunch of kids. But you know what? Maybe we need to raise the level of expectation in terms of, you know, at least everybody, I'm kind of looking at you, I'm like, everybody but you, but when we were in school, I can say this, when we were in school, there were measures. We knew if you missed a certain amount, if you had a certain amount of absences, you were scared. I don't know if I knew anybody that actually failed, but I knew that the fear was, oh man, he missed 15 days, he's gonna be, I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, it was those things, and you know, if you failed classes, the same thing. At high school, you know, retention is done differently because it's about grades. But I am looking at middle school, and I'm seeing some of the kids that have not made it through. Then I go to summer school, and then I see them there the first 2 weeks, and then gone. Only to come back the next year in the next grade. So I just like us, the policy committee, to really tackle this one and be bold. You know, some people are going to get upset. But for me, we need to have a standard, and the standard is the standard. And that's all I would ask. So that's my report.
I have a question for Dr. Edmondson.
Yes, trustee Pauls.
So thank you for all of that, Dr. Edmondson. When you were talking about the CTE programs and visiting other districts, we had inquired at a meeting about what programs are available to Romulus. Yes, because I know, and Ms. Kennard can speak to that, but I know that once districts close to us take a program, it's no longer available to us. So if we could just get a list of what is currently available to Romulus.
That's what I look to Eve for, Ms. Camilleri, because I can't remember.
Okay.
All the things that are tossed around, I cannot remember. But certainly we can do that. I'm excited. I think it has a chance to be a game changer as long as we don't do too much. And also, we need to think about this. When I was talking to Trustee Evans the other day, I was talking about the food truck a little bit, and then she asked me about the restaurant. Used to be the restaurant. And
Yeah, Eagle's Nest.
She asked me about the Eagle's Nest, and then, is it possible we can upgrade? And I said, just a couple of things I think we should always realize. And this isn't to her or anyone else, but sometimes things 20 years ago, they just don't work anymore. Things have gone. I can't imagine a lot of people coming to the school to have food. It's not to say that it can't, but back in the day, yeah, a lot of that went on. But now, today's families are like, people are just busy. Doesn't mean we can't, but it's just like, let's talk about that.
Well, I think
That's
that
something we want to do.
Also, with that in mind, if we're going to have a culinary, if we're going to have a culinary CTE program,
Gotta have something that,
then yeah, we can promote that by our students serving different venues, different, award ceremonies. Take it to the city council meetings.
that's why I think a food
you
truck
know,
would be good. It just looks different.
right.
It looks different. It could be the same
Food trucks are
concept,
the
food
upcoming,
truck.
right?
It looks different, but it's kind of the same concept. But when I went to graduation, you all were there. You saw how many people were there. We had a food truck. We're good. So that's it. I would encourage you, the next 3 days are it's the summer school program. Particularly, I went to the swimming class today. I was just thrilled. There had to be 20 kids lined up. Miss Vicki McTall she's a champion for swimming, as you all know. But if you ever get a chance, I thought about tomorrow actually going in and throwing on my bathing suit and getting out there so kids can see, yes, I can swim, but as an adult, and I will say of color. It's important when you see adults that look like you who can swim. So of the 20 kids, I'm just saying that because 18 were African American. So I thought the only time that I really have to do it is tomorrow, potentially. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but potentially. So that's it. Thank you for the report. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Edmondson. We are now at the report of the Director of Human Resources. There's 2 action items. Can someone read for custodial manager?
Madam President and Board, recommended motion is moved that the Board of Education approves the custodial manager contract for Elise Martin. The rationale is restructure of Operations Department. The budget implications is number 11261, 1640-001, 0000000. And in your board packet, you have the contract exhibit.
Support.
Motion by Kennard, supported by Davis. Any questions? Comments?
So in the past, we've asked that the motion, I'm sorry, President Laster. We've asked that the dollar figure be attached to the motions, and the contract amount is starting at $67,000. And I do have a question. I would like to know if these were posted on Apple Track so that interviews could be done accordingly.
Sure, thank you. Hello, good evening. So they were posted on AppleTrack and posted internally, and I just wanted to kind of clear something up for the board, if I may. So when I originally presented on this, I did talk about going external to doing our due diligence, doing the interviews. And I'm usually definitely a man of my word, so I wanted to come back up and just say that when I went back and I kind of reflected on things, and I looked at these 2 individuals and the track record that they have and how they've been here and how they share my vision and how I'm trying to structure this department, I just thought it'd be a waste of time. These are my people. These are the people that I'm looking to move forward in my department, and I'm fully confident that with this team, we'll get where we need to be. So I did not hold external interviews. We did post it internally. There were no other candidates who expressed interest. I met with the two individuals and gave them my expectations for the position, both of them individually. And so that's where the recommendation is tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
I have a question. Do we know, and I don't want to break it down per employee, but with the first-year salaries for both, do we know approximately what amount of increase that is over what is being paid now?
I think that would probably go in line with whatever else is being negotiated in the districts. If other bargaining units or contracts are getting raises, next year, that would probably be in order for these individuals as well.
No, I guess, let me rephrase, I'm sorry. By these two positions, how much additional is in the budget for salary expense versus what's being paid now without these?
Sure. So kind of like I said in my first presentation, though, there really isn't a budget implication because these two individuals are both working lots of overtime to oversee the department, which really
Okay.
amounts to the amount given in front of you tonight. So in my eyes, there is no budget implication.
So I have a question, Madam President.
Yes.
So, in actuality, the base budget line for this is primarily the same in terms of what they are receiving now. So you need to clarify that.
Correct.
Okay, so with overtime, okay, that's an additional over the amount of the base, which now becomes, now correct me, now becomes part of the base. Is that correct?
So when we budgeted and we built the budget and we did our zero-based budget building, these dollar amounts were in there in that budget, and the dollar amounts really haven't changed. So
So what we're saying here is that the base budget for the position is the same because it encompasses the
Right, so there won't
overtime
be any
amount.
overtime. These new
Right, they're
positions are
strictly
salary.
So they're now salary. That's what we're saying.
Which now we can really budget for it because we know
Okay.
exactly where they'll be too, instead of assuming overtime and things like
Okay.
that too, so.
So the requirements for salary is totally different for a non-salary and whatever. So you get overtime, time and a half, whatever. So that means they can work those hours and still be receiving and not compensating beyond that. So we
By the
just
way,
want to
is
be
what I
clear.
need for emergencies and
Yeah.
after hours and
You're
when
on
an
call.
alarm's going off at the middle school before school and things like
Okay.
that. It's
All right.
exactly what I need to run this department properly,
Okay.
so.
And so my next question, this is for Mr. Brock. Normally, when you are hiring internal, it's usually a candidate in mind. The posting is still normally posted outside, even though we are hiring inside. That's usually the practice. So in this case, I want to make sure I understood correctly, is that we did not post outside. I just want to make sure we're following the correct we're following the correct human resources practices and posting jobs that it doesn't come back to haunt us because.
No, so per their contract, we have to post things internally for so many days.
Mm-hmm.
There's no requirement to post it externally. And take a page from your playbook, I think you had made a recommendation at one time to post something with a candidate of interest in mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? That deters people from applying from a position. So taking a page from your playbook, and I appreciate that, we decided that there is no real obligation for us to post this externally. If there's candidates who have expressed interest, we'd like to explore those candidates first. If they didn't work out, then we post it externally.
We have one
So-
meeting going on. Thank you.
So yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make for clarification for that.
I decided that, so I want the board to know that.
Okay. Well, you know your people better than we.
I believe for this department,
Yeah, right. You would know your staff,
Right.
so we're following your recommendation. Okay, all right, thank you.
I'm just trying to support you.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Hiles,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Wester, yes, Laster.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Manager of maintenance.
All right, Madam President and Board, The next action is move that the Board of Education approves the manager of maintenance contract for Raymont Holt. Is that Raymont?
Yes.
Okay, Raymont Holt. The rationale is restructure of operations department. The budget implications is maintenance supervisor number 11261, 1170, 015, 000, 000. And in your board package, you have the exhibits, which is the contract.
Support.
Motion's been made by Kennard, supported by Davis. Any discussion?
Just that the salary is 67,000.
Thank you for that, trustee Evans. Roll call vote, please.
Piles,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Wester, yes. Laster.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Welcome, Mr. Hope.
Thank you.
Madam President, may I?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins, I just think it's respectable and commendable that you believed in your team and sought out individuals who have been here and done an exceptional job, so.
Thank you. Thank you for
Respect.
saying that. Thank you for sharing my vision. And these are two individuals who live in the community, who have been in the community, who went to school in the community, who are very dedicated. Those are the kind of people I want on my team, so thank you.
Vote
Thank you.
in the
Very good.
community.
Thank you.
Vote in the community.
There you
too.
go, vote in the community.
Well, I will say too, when you call at midnight, it's not hard to get up when you have somebody that believes in you too, and you like
Right.
what you, love what you do. So thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for the support.
Yes. Okay. Well, stay right there.
Am I up again?
We have the report of the director, Mr. Jason Perkins. Can someone read our action item for the bus purchase?
Madam President, move that the Board of Education approves the purchase of 4 77-passenger gas engine buses and 1 2020 lift bus with air conditioning from Midwest Transit Equipment at a total cost to the district of $617,679. Rationale, update bus fleet, budget implications, school bus purchase, exhibits, quote and price comparison report.
Support.
Okay, it's been motioned by Davis, supported by Wester. Any discussion?
I have a question.
I appreciate that you guys are ready to go, but I put together some stuff for your consideration here
Oh.
too. So,
Great.
He said put a pin in that.
so we've been working closely with the sinking fund committee, and we know we have the new money now. We were over budget. Now we have the new funds that have come in, and we're working closely as a committee to make sure we develop a plan to spend those funds responsibly, not go over budget, prioritize things, et cetera. So I've kind of put together some things here, some of the things that we're thinking about moving forward with for your consideration tonight. So before we get into that, I wanted to kind of just go over the sinking fund budget and where we're at, because I know you guys are going to ask, so I tried to really spell everything out here for you of what money we have, what we spent, where we're at with the sinking fund budget. This is per Dr. Gistinger too, so thank you for her help on that of putting this together. So the new money for the 24-25 fiscal year is the 3.676. There was a remaining balance from 23-24 of 97 and some change there, which brings us to spend in 24-25 3.7 million there and some change. We still owed the general fund 125,000, which that transfer will be made, and after that transfer, we'll have 3.649 to spend in the 24-25 school year. So we're back in business. We want to make sure that we're doing some great improvements around the district with those funds responsively, on budget, with a plan, et cetera. Yes, Ms. Evans?
And I want to clarify that second line item that says there's $97,000. Initially, we were told it was 16 or 19,000, but there were late taxes paid to the district for sinking fund, which got us up to that 97,000. So there was it looks like a discrepancy in the budget, but that's where that other money came from. I just wanted to, yeah.
Good, because I didn't know how that became 97,000, so thank you for that.
Also, this general ledger number, is that sinking fund general ledger number, this 41-271 on the motion?
Yes.
It's sinking fund?
Yes,
Thank you.
anything that starts with 4-1 will be sinking fund. So yeah, 3.6 left to spend, 24, 25, going to do some great improvements around the district. We're going to prioritize, we're going to make a list. But in the meantime, there's some things that are pending that we need now. So that's where the bus purchase comes into play. It is an allowable expense for sinking fund. We kind of went back and forth. We didn't know for sure. That's a newer addition that's allowable expense. So we did the research, and it looks like it is allowable, thank goodness, because we're hurting bad for buses. So we're basically almost out of compliant with our special ed bus. That's an air-conditioned bus. I also put on here just a couple other points that they recommend to replace about 10% of your fleet annually. For us, we have around 40 buses. That'd be 2, 3, 4 buses a year, and we haven't bought a bus in years. So we're behind. We're behind now, and because of that, I'm recommending that we purchase 5 buses in total. So in order to get the handicap bus in time, we had to go used, because if we go brand new, it has to be special ordered. It's not a standard bus with the air conditioning. We're not going to get it in time to be in compliance. So instead, we met with some manufacturers, we met with some vendors, and we came up with a used bus. It was leased by another local school district. I would assume it was taken care of and things like that with this other local school district. So it's a low mileage 2020 handicap bus with the air conditioning. They have it readily available. Should the board choose to move forward, I can call them right away and purchase this bus. The other 4 are just standard passenger, brand new buses, 2024. You see the prices of both the used and the new there, as well as a total for all 5 buses. Before I move on, is there any question about buses?
Yes, trustee Powers.
How many years are we able to keep a bus, or what is the age of a bus before it has to be retired?
Sure, so normally a bus ages out, depending on the condition, 4 to 5 years. Okay.
So is there, like the bus we're buying with the lift and air, is there a number of years that we will have that? Is there a max number of years we can have a 2020?
I would
Or
say
is it
more of
mileage
depends on
or-
the inspections. So we do the annual inspections too, and a lot of times these inspectors will come out and decommission a bus. And we don't have a say about it because it doesn't meet the standards anymore. So that's really when you have to.
Right.
You know, so a lot of that is a result of they've been decommissioning and we're not repurchasing. So that's why we're at where we are today.
So is there not the law on how old it can be, as long as it passes inspection?
That's my understanding.
Okay, that's what I thought, okay.
Generally, they don't live, but when a bus reaches approximately 8 years of age, you're talking many, many miles, many, many hours, lots of wear and tear, lots of breakdown.
Okay.
Probably not going to pass inspection anyway at that point.
But when the state police come in and run it through inspection, it's
Right.
more likely
Okay.
to be tagged.
Okay, so we should be planning on about 8 years' life of these new buses and get ready, okay. And are we retiring 4 buses then?
Yes, that's the plan, and we
okay.
can auction those off or try to sell them to recoup some of this money
Okay,
as well.
thank you.
Madam President.
Yes, trustee Clark.
To the board, one of the conversations that we had when we were talking about new buses, and if you notice earlier, he said that the bus for the special ed was air conditioned. I'm like, well, you know, for the new buses, why not air conditioned as well? I can see where, you know, students, you know, in a bus when it's, you know, hot, and they need air too, and so
And the
I don't know
drivers,
if that's included in that cost, or was that separate? 'Cause
That
we
would
did
not be on the
discuss that.
standard buses. They would be special order. We'd have to wait longer, and they cost more, so
They cost,
that would be the downside of it.
We can order them handheld fans.
you want to say held hand
What's
fans?
the cost for air?
But in the future,
In the
as we're,
future,
as we're
as we're moving
forward.
forward.
If they came in and installed it like an aftermarket air, which we don't really recommend because it breaks down the structure of the vehicle, so it causes leaks and stuff like that. But if you were to add that on, you're looking at probably a $15,000, maybe $20,000.
Okay.
Right,
I don't understand what she's saying.
So we have to stay compliant with the state of Michigan, so to be in compliant with the law. So that's
Right.
why we really need that.
So in compliance, you're saying the standard is in compliance?
The standard is in compliant with most of with your general education. Special education is where we start getting into murky waters.
Can Yes. Yes. Come on. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for the opportunity to address you about this. So just to add a little clarity in terms of air conditioning for students with IEPs, there is no blanket law that requires the district to provide air conditioning for students with IEPs. However, if you have one student with an individual health issue, whether it's asthma or some other chronic ailment requiring air conditioning to help them regulate their body temperature, if it lives within the IEP, for that reason, we have to provide it. So this is all IEP driven. So if we have a student in the district where the IEP team has determined in tandem with the student's physician that as a result of the medical situation that they need air, then we have to do it. But outside of that, we have no obligation to, but it absolutely would be nice. And I advocate for all students, so not just special ed students, all students, if it were possible. But I recognize the financial constraints as well, so.
right.
I just wanted to add that for clarification.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're just going to take it back to one meeting. Thank you, Mr. Perkins. You can continue.
The only other thing that I'll add is that it's a cooperative purchase through MSBO. That allows us to not send it out for bid, that MSBO does the bidding for you and make sure you're getting the best deal on the bus.
Evelyn. Thank you.
Quiet coyotes. Okay. Was that all the discussion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Piles,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Wester, yes, Laster.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
thank you so much
Thank you.
for your PowerPoint.
Thank you. Now I got some more too. It's not over yet. So the next proposed purchase for sinking fund is flooring at the middle school. This is in conjunction with the STEAM expansion, but the members of the committee wanted me to go back and didn't want it to just be about STEAM, which I respect. So I proposed outfitting a lot of the new STEAM rooms. They said, no, can we do the rest of the rooms? Not the whole middle school, but upstairs. So this is for all the rooms that need school, that need carpet at the middle school. So it's really small, and I apologize for that. But I wanted to make sure that I listed for all you guys of all the rooms that would be included to make sure that it's not just STEAM rooms, that it's inclusive of all the upstairs of the middle school, every room that needs carpet. And this is what we came up with. We went back, revised the estimate. That's what you see in front of you today. The total cost would be $65,407. It was like $40,000 until we added the additional rooms. Now we're up to $65,000, so this would complete all the upstairs. And then we're thinking like phases. Maybe next summer could be downstairs at the middle school, that sort of
Well-
thing.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Don't mean to, it was my understanding that we talked about doing the whole school. Because as you walk into that middle school, it's not a good look with the carpet that's right there. And if we're going to invest in carpet for one level, why are we not improving the appearance of that building as a whole? And I thought that that was, and trustee Kennard can correct me, but I thought that was the discussion that we had about doing all of the rooms, all of the hallways, to get a good face on that building. Because we're losing students because they walk in and they're like, no, why is only a certain amount of rooms getting done? Why isn't my student part of that update?
Well, I could say that's something we can discuss as a committee, but I would be in favor of that. I'd be in support of that. Time constraints are one consideration. We've got a month until school starts, so I don't know that the whole middle school could be done, but it's definitely something we could move forward, consider. I'm in support of it. We could talk about it as a committee, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, trustee
Has any carpet been ordered or laid yet?
Oh, no.
Okay,
Waiting
so
for
we
board
don't have-
approval. No, I haven't done anything.
Okay.
1 second, trustee Paz, I apologize. Can we read the motion and then go with the discussion?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. No worries.
No, we didn't. Madam President, recommended motion Move that the Board of Education approves the Romulus Middle School flooring replacement by Flooring Service Incorporated at a cost to the district of $65,407 with a 10% contingency as presented. Rationale, building upgrade, budget implications are the RMS repair and improvement, and the exhibits are attached.
Support.
It's been motioned by Wester, supported by Kennard, and Ms. Powers, you can finish with your discussion.
Thank you. So this is also coming from sinking fund.
Thank you.
Yeah, for one account. So my question too is, have we looked at what estimates would be for the whole school? And again, I ask this because we have had feedback from students and parents about the middle school looking less than stellar. And I know that painting was going to be done. Are we painting the whole building, or is that just upstairs? And if we can just kind of get away from that, and if we could look at carpeting, getting some quotes, and maybe on the next agenda, getting that approved.
Like I said, I'm in support of that. I just don't know if there'd be enough time this summer to get it done. But I'm in support of it, and we have the funds, so absolutely. But no, to answer your question, we did not seek more estimates on the downstairs because we're so short on time. Our focus was on the upstairs.
So can I ask why the upstairs was chosen to be carpeted as opposed to the downstairs? Because that's what people see when they come in?
Sure, so all the hallways are new at the middle school. I think upstairs needed it most. It was just really old carpet up there, and it just needed some improvements. It was really bad, and with the move that's happening, it seemed like a good time.
Sorry.
Media center's happening upstairs too. Yeah, it just kind of fell in line with improving the whole upstairs.
Because the carpeting was all put in around the same time, wasn't it? Or did we have it in,
I think it's all the same old stuff.
right? So they're equally, okay, thank you.
All right.
This is also a cooperative purchase through Sourcewell, again, where we don't have to go out to bid, where it's already been bid out. So it's a Sourcewell cooperative bid.
Piles?
Come back to me, please.
Davis?
Yes.
Kennard?
Yes.
McCarthy?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Westers, yes. Piles?
Yes.
Laster?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
So I just have one more sinking fund. I'll try to make it quick. This one's not really for approval tonight. It's more of an FYI. I just like to keep you guys informed. The other thing that we're going to be trying to do with sinking funds is some of the drinking fountains around the district. So I'm sure you guys have all heard about the Filter First Act that's coming down the line. There's no funding yet. It's a unfunded mandate so far. We're just trying to get ahead of that, and we want to start replacing some of the drinking fountains. We had drinking water tested. Some of the drinking fountains failed. They have out of order signs out of them. It's terrible. I don't like it around the district. We want to bring all of our drinking fountains up to the bottle filler standard. It's kind of district-wide. It's going to be over time and gradual. But it's just something I wanted to make you guys aware of, that's going to be another one of my priorities for the sinking fund. Any questions on that?
No, Madam President.
Yes, I'm sorry,
May I?
trustee Kennard.
I don't have a question pertaining to the drinking fountains, but as being on the sinking fund committee, I think in our next meeting and to the board, since I saw some hesitation in terms of, the carpeting for the upstairs versus the down, that when we sit down and have a conversation, we can do a timeline and then probably have it where, where they could do something, and have something where if it could be something simultaneously done where it's affecting it. So even though we approve this, we can also probably have a discussion to see if the contractor is willing to work with us in doing something, with that simultaneously, if that's okay for the board. Okay.
We'll work as a
All right.
committee. We'll work on that. I just put one last slide together to tell you guys what we'd have left over after everything. assuming that you guys approved these tonight, which you did. So the bus purchase, the flooring improvements, drinking fountains estimated, but roughly of what it would be there at the bottom, remaining balance after these expenses. So just so you guys have that too.
Yes, trustee
Were
Powers.
any filling stations installed during COVID? Because I thought we saw some of those in the buildings and that we needed,
I mean, there's a number of drinking fountains that are bottle filling stations around the district, but when they were installed, I couldn't tell you.
I think, so do those qualify for what needs to be?
Yes, if it has a
Installed?
filter, everything's gonna have to
Okay.
have a filter by next year, so yes, those
Water
would
fountains
qualify.
are just gross anyway. I didn't even realize we were still using those after COVID.
We'll be looking for your expertise in discussing a bond issue, because a bond issue, you can take care of a whole lot of stuff, and it's no addition to anyone. In fact, we're dropping off on this year. So next year, I mean, if we really get to it, and we've done enough for a year to talk about it, now it's really time to get moving. Get a team of people to talk about that.
Looking forward to it. Thank
Thank
you, board,
you.
for your support.
Dr. Meese, come on down. Because you crispy today.
This may disappoint you. I do not have a PowerPoint planned. I was trying to get Brock back to Clarkston for the Olympics tonight. Badminton, I think he was talking about. So I stand before you tonight asking for your approval for us to continue a partnership with Bilingual Therapies. They are a staffing provider that we've relied upon for the last couple of years. The contract that you have before you has been vetted by our attorneys. We partner with Bilingual and their sister company Sunbelt. You do not have the Sunbelt contract because we recently had our attorney look at that once again, because the contract that they sent us is a revised contract that does not have language that our attorney previously inserted. So we're waiting on receiving that from the attorney, and then we'll submit that to Sunbelt. But in any event, you have the Bilingual contract. Just again, to add a little context, our priority is always to hire traditional employees. As you know, certain positions are very difficult to find, such as occupational therapists, school psychologists, school social workers. And for that reason, we've partnered in the past with these companies, and we have found some outstanding practitioners who are working with us through these companies. I want you to know that my hope, and I believe the hope of these three individuals with whom we work, is for them to become traditional employees. There's contract language that prevents that right now. There's some federal legislation that's newly enacted that is through the Federal Trade Commission, and we haven't seen how that's going to play out, but it's likely that non-compete clauses will go away, and when that does, I'm very excited to call these people our own. Again, they would be considered, quote-unquote, hiring from within, but these are fantastic individuals who have done a wonderful job with our students, who support our district and support the students and their families. Any questions?
Madam President,
Yes, trustee.
what is the
Evans.
dollar figure associated to this contract? Because I don't see any dollar figure in the contract.
There are individual contracts that we have. In my understanding, in the past, we have not submitted individual contracts at the board. Mr. Brock, correct me if I'm wrong. This is simply a contract to engage with this company.
Kind of like Edu staff?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, we gonna just,
Perfect.
yep. So can we read the motion and then we can go back to the discussion?
Okay, I'm
No,
sorry.
no worries.
Madam President and Board, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approves the bilingual services agreement through June 30th, 2025. The rationale is special services staffing. The budget implications vary special service accounts depending on the staff, and the exhibits are the client service agreement in your board packet.
Support.
It's been motioned by Kennard, supported by Evans. You can continue.
Okay, so, yeah, so then it's like an Edu staff. We're calling in
It is.
staff whenever needed.
a
Okay,
staff need.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
Call vote,
Yes.
Madam Secretary?
Davis,
Yes.
Piles,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Wester, yes. Evans,
Yes.
Laster.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Meese.
Thank you.
All right, we are now at number 10, report of board subcommittees. I did send an email. Did everybody, can I get a thumbs up if you received your email? If not, there is a paper in your packet that states the new subcommittees. I wanted to make note that I have implemented a parliamentarian who will be Sue Evans, and she will work to just keep order. If there is, you're just gonna keep order, and we're gonna make sure we're gonna make sure that we work to do things decent and in order. Everybody is heard and respected, and the main thing is to get through this agenda and move this district forward. Exactly. No more 11 o'clock meetings, no shade. Okay, I also have implemented a couple of new subcommittees, so if you have any questions, we can definitely talk. And then I have the Sunshine Committee, which will be me and Mrs. Evans, where that is just for bereavements, retirements, things things of that sort, acknowledgements from the board. I also have done school assignments, so each board member will be assigned to a school in the district to foster a relationship, bring back good news, let us know carpet is looking kind of rugged, let the sinking fund committee know. So just things of that sort. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And I also want to thank the sinking fund committee for all of your hard work, all of your reports that you bring back, the knowledge. I think you guys work very well with Mr. Perkins. So that's all that I have. If anybody else had anything that they wanted to say in regards to subcommittees, the floor is yours. Yes.
I may. The Wellness Committee is not listed, and that is a mandatory committee per state law. So again, I'm requesting that that be added, and I'm volunteering to serve on that.
So we can make that happen right now. Wellness Committee.
Wellness
Ms.
Committee.
Debbie Powles.
Does anybody, and that is one that
Do you need
benefits
two
from
or just
multiple,
one?
yes, yes.
You need two members or just one?
No, we need 2 members, and then this also involves community members as well, but we need 2 board members, yes.
Okay, well, we'll put a pin in that. We'll have you as the chair, and then I'll get with, unless someone right now wants to volunteer. If not, I won't put you on Front Street. We'll work.
I will volunteer, Madam President.
All right.
Great. Because we're currently out of compliance, so we need to move on that.
And thank you for that, Trustee Powles.
Thank you.
Want to make sure we're in compliance.
Madam President, how many times would you like us to visit our school that you have assigned us to? Is it once a month? What are we thinking?
I think once a month would be good. And also, like, if they have, reading at the school, you'll get to know your principal and the staff and what works. And I know everybody has a busy schedule, but if it can be boots on the ground where there is a board member at least showing their presence and establishing a relationship with their school. So hopefully everybody is happy with their selections, and I look forward to hearing good news. I know Trustee Powles, you would say, what was it, the point of pride? See, yeah, something of that sort. Everybody good?
Point of pride.
Okay. Thank you guys for your support on that. We are at the report of the board president. There is an action item. Can someone read that for me?
Recommended motion for the MASB call of for delegates. Move that the Board of Education certifies blank as the Romulus Community Schools delegate and blank as the alternate for the MASB 2024 Delegate Assembly. Rationale 2024 MASB Delegate Assembly participation. Support.
Been motion by Evans, supported by Kennard.
And I would like to nominate Kennard.
Okay, we have a motion for Trustee Kennard.
Accept.
Trustee Kennard accepts. Any other nominations?
Western nominated herself.
Okay. And we have a nomination for Secretary Wester. Okay, so is it the roll call of the first?
I believe so.
Okay. So, Madam Secretary, if you could do for trustee Kennard.
Trustee Bernard,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Miles,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
and Laster.
Yes.
Laster, no.
So that would be the board certifies trustee. Okay.
And then we have to do an alternate?
You want an alternate? Lester?
All right, so we have Secretary Wester as the alternative. Alternate, I apologize. I promise I'm gonna eat dinner before the next board meeting. Okay, yes, the alternate. And then roll call, or you just got that?
Just got it.
All right. Copy, it could be a ghost that comes about, I don't know. Okay. Yes.
The MASB Resolutions and Bylaws Committee has reviewed the current resolutions that will be brought in. No districts have added anything more, so we will get a packet of what all will be proposed. And what we're supposed to do is review those as a board, so that as a board, we determine, yes, we're in support of this, or no, we're not. And that is what our delegate is supposed to speak to at that conference. So the delegate assembly is on Thursday, October 24th. So we need to put a date on our calendar where we are going through all of the resolutions and bylaws from MASB and deciding as a board if our delegate will support those or is opposed to them.
And do you know about the time frame when that will come, or no?
I can get, yeah, those should be ready. I'm on that committee. I can get those, but we need to be able to review those as a board
Yeah.
in September.
So if you can get that information, we can put that on the board calendar.
Okay, great.
So
Thank
all
you.
board members are aware, and also send out a calendar invite, so everybody is on the same page. And thank you for that information. And congratulations, trustee Kennard. And thank you, Ms. Wester, for being the alternative. Just playing.
Alternate.
All right, so we're all set. Now we are at, okay, we are at B, the superintendent's contract approval. Can I have someone read that?
Madam President, move that the Board of Education approves the contract for Dr. Benjamin Edmondson, Superintendent. Rationale, stability, budget implication, superintendents and assistants, and exhibits. You have the contract in your packet.
Support.
I have a motion by Davis, supported by Wester. I do want to note that the contract was available to board members on Friday. I did hear from one board member they shared their views. Any discussion? All right.
I do have discussion.
Oh, trustee Evans?
So as we look at this and we see the numbers, I'm surprised at the dollar figure. This contract will cost this district over $1 million in 3 years. Each year, it's over $300,000. And as we look at things that are happening in this district, I'm concerned with what is not happening in the district. As examples, let me find my paper. We have lost several, I've got it, just a minute. We have lost several programs. We are losing staff to the point where we're cramming kids in at the elementary levels. We are losing, well, I've asked for resignations, and we don't have those, but, darn it, where is it? Dr. Meese brought up a program, he just happened to bring up Olympics. What's going on with the unified sports? Oh, nothing. We went on a field trip. We don't have time, we didn't have time to create the chess program. That's not done. We don't have tutoring for students after unless the actual buildings support out of their 31A money. And we don't provide transportation for tutoring. We don't. And we have $1 million in CTE that we've had for a year that we haven't touched. So, in the biggest thing to me is this $1 million contract for 3 years, and what do we have to have this district grow? Initially, Mr. Brock said, we need Young Fives. Haven't done anything to get Young Fives going that I'm aware of, okay? We got rid of our athletic director. We don't have anybody over athletics to be a full-time promoter of athletics. We have invested in music, okay? That music was put into the ESSER funds a year and a half ago. And I'm concerned about the stability of this district, to be very honest with you. These type of increases, a 26% increase or 21% for the first year and 5% for the next 2 years, with no measurables, we have not set goals for this superintendent. That is the fault of this board. We have no goals set as what we need our superintendent to do. That's a fault of this board. This board elected not to go on a retreat, not to do a strategic planning meeting to set goals for this district. Instead, we've got a strategic committee that we've only heard from once. And I just feel that it's a lot of money. And what do we have to show for growth in this district to support these monies?
Thank you, Trustee Evans. Well, I just want to say, as someone that's been on the board since Dr. Edmondson has come back, it would be remiss if I didn't say, like, he has done great things for the students, great things for the district. He's brought programs. A lot of the stuff you can't control, some people leaving programs. Not saying that everything he's done has been perfect or worked, but the contract's been in the works for about 7 months now. I think the board, it's not a fault of the board because we still have a chance to do his goals. And like we had a conversation, I do believe goals, visions, we need to plan, all of that. But some of the things you mentioned, I feel would be best in his evaluation so that we can say, hey, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, this is what the board wants. That's on his evaluation. And then with his contract, it also states that the board has the right to go forth with not going forth with him. So I just feel like it would be for each of us to say, and everybody's opinion is their opinion, but Dr. Edmondson has brought stability. He is for the students. He is for the staff. I think if I was him, I would be a little hurtful to hear the comments.
Well,
it's how you feel, but I just feel at this point, those are all like opinions that we have, whether we think he's doing a good job or not. The contract is here. It's been in the works for this amount of time, and we can put all of that into his evaluation. We want you to do X, Y, and Z, and that's what we expect for you to do. So can we, if we don't have any other discussion for
Madam
his
President,
contract?
may I?
Go ahead.
For my clarification and others, the types of questions that have come to me from the community.
Yeah.
Okay, and so my question is not based on my own personal. Okay, so I just want everybody to make sure that I'm clear on that. And so one of the things is how do we actually derive at the 26% increase? And it's not to say that he hasn't done anything for the district and the board has not met the goals and set those standards or whatever, but how are we deriving at that? And how is that impacting future budgets, from a financial perspective in terms of us being financially responsible and stewards of finance? And so typically when you are looking at, and any practice that I've been in or people who've been communicating with me, is that when you have a renewal of a contract, those things are in place. Okay, evaluations, goals and so forth, and we just happen to don't have that right now. And so what are we basing that on? And so that was a concern of many constituents in the community, and I'm bringing that forth to the board. And again, it has nothing to do with what he has done, but what are we doing as a board moving forward? Are we giving out contract? Why are we renewing? Another was why are we renewing a contract? I think his current contract hasn't ended yet, and I don't know the date of that. I think it's when is it? June 30th. Why are we doing this, and why are we having and doing this at this particular point in time and not at that time, where it'll allow the board, to do what we say that we need to do, such as goal setting and such as, doing those tasks, whatever. No one's saying that he shouldn't. I'm not saying, or from those who have communicated with me, I'm not saying he's not deserving. They're just for clarification and setting consistency. We know that when you do evaluations, that's usually when you get increased salaries and contracts and so forth. It's just that even if you're in a class and you register for a class, you don't get your grade before you complete the class. You complete the task, then you get your grade. You do an evaluation, and you have evaluations done even in your job force, and then you get evaluated, then you get the increase and whatever. So it's just a procedural thing. It's a procedural thing, and most of the questions that were asked to me, to the board, for any additional comments and clarification as to why we're looking into this at this point in time, where we can look at it at a later date and be consistent, okay? And then the information be forth where the community at large and those of interest would have, we could speak on why. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Trustee Kennard. All I can say is, I know that the contract has been in the works for the last, 5, 6, 7 months. I remember sitting in that seat when the contracts were going out for administrative assistants in the district. It was like the tension was so, you could cut it with a knife. Like, people were uncertain about, am I going to be working? Am I going to get my contract? So I'm not speaking for you. I'm just saying, as a person, yes, you have a year left on your contract, but with the weight that you carry as a superintendent, I would think about my own job where I'm at. Like, I'm working summer school. Are they going to keep me again? Am I going to be there next year? Like, I think any person will want to they will want to know what is the future, especially with the way the world is today. I hear what everybody is saying about deliverables and things of that sort, but also this hasn't come up except for today. Like, if people in the community are saying things and there's questions, even over the weekend, nothing was brought up. So,
Madam President, we need order.
Huh?
You need to call order.
yes, we can just be respectful of one
Yes,
meeting.
You do.
Thank you so much.
Also, I have an email that said we should not negotiate because there is still, from legal, that says we should not negotiate because there's still a year left on the contract.
And that was from Attorney Schindler?
Correct.
Okay. So all I can say too is I did talk to Attorney Schindler when I'm stepping in. This was like already in rotation. So I feel like I'm in the forest. A lot of things is going on. I'm getting emails. So I did have a conversation with legal. That's who we listen to. That's who we're paying. He was saying to go forth. The contract went back and forth with verbiage, and it was sent to the board on Friday when everything was agreed upon. So, yes, Trustee Piles.
Good question, Madam President. So I believe that all of our staff need to have a contract for stability, and so that the rest of our staff know that because of all of the turnover that we've had, that we're not going to continue to do the turnover. My concern is, what is the total cost of this contract? Has Dr. Gissinger given you that amount?
I have not gotten the amount, but she is here, and I'm hearing at the table it's $1 million contract over 3 years.
But, I mean, I'm sitting here calculating, but, I mean, I'm wondering what is the total cost? So I have, for year one, at a $240,000 salary with another $24,000 for the annuity, plus the stipends of $14,000, that's a $278,000 contract, plus we'll add another 75-ish for ORS, plus FICA, all the other taxes that I haven't calculated plus benefits. So we don't know what and then the next year, the base goes to 291 with about 85 for ORS. And then, so my question is not that, my concern is not that there be a contract, but to jump from the 190 to 240, plus we're also increasing the annuity, the obligations. Where do we stand financially, and at what point are we going to collapse because we're making decisions with numbers that we're not understanding the full magnitude of? My other concern is that this is a 3-year contract, but it is automatically going to add 1 year every year, so it's a
If the board doesn't say anything within the
Correct.
60
If-
days,
if-
so.
Right, if the board does not. But, so what we've seen is on the board calendar, the board is supposed to have, the board by March 31st is supposed to vote to give notice of non-renewals. And when we have requested that, we've only had one meeting early in March, and we've never been able to do that duty as a board. So my concern is, and as there's board turnover, this can easily be forgotten. So my question is, if we're going to enter into a contract of this magnitude, when we're roughly at a 6% fund balance, why do we need to put this in? Could we have a finite contract of 3 years where we're not having to continually roll it over, and if the members who are serving on the board don't remember, then it's automatically renewed?
Before you go to your next point, so that was something that I did discuss with legal, and also just what I've been talking about with Eve, and I know there can be turnover in different boards. That's something that will be on the board calendar, so all board members are aware that this 60 days, this is a task, or this is something that needs to be done. So it's not, I can't speak for the past and how stuff was done, but going forward, the transparency and having that out there, that will be done. I can ensure while I'm on this board, that will be done.
Right.
That will be on the calendar. That can be something that we can put on there right now. 60 days before that date, we know that we need to either yay or nay. And then
Right.
I think too, it's still, we got to remember, this is a unique situation, and I say this to everybody. Like somebody that has been through trauma, we talk about trauma, you have been somewhere where you were just working and then circumstances, you're not working anymore. So when I was talking to the attorney, it's give or take. Like, hey, the board still has control because you can say, we're not going to renew you. But as an employee, you still have time to figure out for your life what you want to do if you haven't done anything that faults you to just be terminated, right away. So I think it's just like the verbiage, and some of this stuff could have been communicated before, like at this point. But I respect everybody's views. I respect what they have to say because we all have our opinions. But it's also just kind of like digging through and saying words like collapse. Dr. Gistinger, since I've worked with you and I said this, I don't think you will put yourself in a position to mess up your credentials and your life and your hard work if this contract has, let's just say it is $1 million contract over 3 years. I'm pretty sure she has every penny to account for that. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you, but I do feel like we wouldn't just be putting something out there that we don't have the money so that the contract would make us collapse.
So Dr. Gissinger, is that accurate? Is this district able to, and what is the total cost of this contract with benefits and FICA and?
So, good evening. If you recall, I did put a provision in the projected budget for an increase in the superintendent's salary, and this is a very high-funded district with our non-homestead millage. The district has enough resources to allocate any way you choose. And, this is not an easy district. You have to understand that there's a price to pay for that, right? I mean, we see the struggles. We see it playing out at the board table every time we have a meeting. There's not a lot of talent out there. The pool is very, very shallow. Dr. Edmondson has done a great job. He's got the support of the community. And I believe that you would be remiss in not approving this contract. I also want to point out that because of past action at the board table, this board is uninsurable when it comes to errors and omissions. So we had to go and seek external insurance from a rider, from a company that was very expensive, much more expensive than anything that you could imagine. I mean, I think it added about $60,000 to our insurance costs. So
How much?
60,000. So you have to weigh your options
Because
here.
we didn't get that update. That's good to know.
I mean, basically, the board is uninsurable.
Well, the district.
And our insurance agent said that he works with thousands of districts, and he's never seen a district with so many claims because of board action. So all of this feeds into how difficult this district is. And when you look at how shallow the pool is for superintendents out there, you got a good one. You might want to hang on to them.
So, and I'm not disputing that. My question was about,
Okay, we must respect the meeting. Thank you.
right, so I hear all that, but my question was as far as, and somebody can be worth and deserving. I'm asking about this district. What is the total cost of this contract with salary, annuity, FICA, benefits, ORS? What is the total cost?
Put that in the Google document. I'll break it out by item.
Has that been calculated?
Yes.
Thank you,
I
Dr.
don't have it off the
Gistinger.
top of my head.
Been calculated, why can't it be stated?
I just don't have that information in front of me. So if I would have known that was a question coming
million
to me,
dollars.
I would have calculated.
No, it's well over a
No, it is
million.
not.
We will,
So-
if that can be put in the Google Doc just
And
for
if
the,
I just want to correct just
ahead.
one thing, because trustee trustee Pyle said next year the base is 291.
It's not.
It's not. There we go again. So I
I'm
just
sorry,
ask
I'm
you
sorry,
again,
it's
when we
250.
put some things out there.
252 is
can
the
they
base.
be
I was
correct?
talking about the cost of it.
Madam
I'm
President,
sorry.
just-
Yes, so
they need to
we-
be correct.
absolutely, I agree. Dr. Gistinger will get the numbers into the Google Doc. The contract has been going for set amount of months, and it's been out for board members to view since Friday. I appreciate everybody's views.
So I do,
Yes.
I do have another question, because this is a review of the contract, and this is how we negotiate the contract for the superintendent. Is this correct or incorrect?
So it was my understanding that,
We can't go into closed session to discuss contracts for the superintendent. It has to be done in open session,
Right.
unless what?
Unless the person who's part of the discussion agrees to it.
No, unless we're seeking legal.
Unless it's what?
Unless we're seeking legal.
Right, unless you're seeking legal.
But now we cannot. And that was my question, because the last legal said, the legal that had told us not to do this amount.
who was the last legal?
Schindler?
Well, as of Tuesday, I talked to Schindler. Schindler was
So I have,
back and forth, and he had the final, he sent over the final contract.
and that's
so-
where I'm confused, because in February, we all received an email that said, no more negotiations. Okay? And then it continued. But I do have a question regarding number 9, and I would like clarification on the 90-day work leaves. Are there 2 work leaves here in 90-day consecutive calendar days? So we have a 90-day leave, and then after that, a second 90-day can be done, and then it goes into the FMLA. Why isn't the FMLA taking over as normal, number 9, page 5?
And as you see, that is not, that has been in the contract, has been in that contract. It's nothing new, nothing new. Everything new
Right.
is in red.
If he's unable after all of this. That's what
And
I'm,
if I'm not mistaken, this is something that is a standard in the contract that when I was talking over, we weren't focused on these bullet points, but this is something that is standard typically in contracts.
2 90-day leaves,
FMLA is,
but then FMLA
weeks.
comes into place after that, right?
no. FML, and we'd have to
At the
seek
conclusion of a
Mr.
leave
Brock.
taken under this paragraph, his employment for the contract it then happens FMLA.
FMLA is 12 weeks, is that correct, Mr. Brock?
12 weeks for FMLA?
Yes,
All right, well,
which is 3 months. So what does this mean?
Okay, this is This is 90 plus 90 is 6 months.
Well, this, like
Well,
I said,
again, this is a new contract that we're negotiating.
Right,
Okay.
and we've learned that sometimes things in contracts.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but we've learned that sometimes language in a contract shouldn't be, so that's why we're asking it now.
Well, and it was done through legal. It's been flowing, so at this point, we're gonna call the vote for the,
Madam President, I
Yes.
just wanted to say, I've been on this board, what, a year and a half now? Before that, I've been a student in this district recently through all of my public school time. I went to Corey, which is now RECC. I've seen what this district's offered since then, and I can say confidently that this is the first superintendent we've had in such a long time that comes to the table with bold ideas. He's very confident in what he believes in. He cares about all the stakeholders in this district, employees, staff members, families, community members, everybody. And I keep hearing the word turnover. Well, what about the past, 5-10 years? What about the turnover in superintendents? We've gone through superintendents like underwear. It's unbelievable. I mean, we haven't had stability in this district for such a long time, and this board would be doing a disservice to Dr. Edmondson and to this community to not attempt to bring stability to this district. Dr. Edmondson cares about his employees. I know that for a fact. The board's only employee is Dr. Edmondson. So really, this boils down to, do we care enough about him to keep him on long term? Because all we're doing here is just sitting here, arguing back and forth, talking, filibustering, just so we can delay the vote. For what? We've been talking about this contract for like 7 months, and I
Maybe you
have.
have, but I haven't.
Nope. It's my turn to talk. Don't interrupt me.
okay, we
How
gonna be.
dare
okay,
you?
One meeting, thank you. We are gonna still be respectful of each other at the table, still a team.
May I go on? Thank you.
Need to keep order.
We've been talking about this contract for at least 7 months now. And this isn't just with this contract, it's with some action items that the questions come right at the table. We have our packet in our inboxes Thursday. We have most of the items in there by Friday. There's questions at the table. Now, we get 7 months to deal with this one issue, and there's still questions at the table. What's up with that? It's either we bring stability to this district, we show that we care about our employee, and we move forward. We got to stop thinking about the past. The past is the past. It happened already. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Davis. Can we call the vote, please?
I'm sorry, I would like to clarify something. The base salary for the second year was $252. The numbers I gave is with the base salary, the annuity, and the stipends. Year one is $278,000, year two is $291,200, and year three is $305,060. And each of those years have an additional 75, 80-ish, and 85 respectively for ORS. The benefits and the FICA and Medicare are still unknown because the budget implications were not included, even though we have been discussing this for 7 months, as Vice President Davis stated. This is not about delaying a vote. This is about at what point is this board going to look at cost and impact, and we are letting staff go and we're cutting in classrooms. There is no other district in Wayne County with declining enrollment and a fund balance as low as ours with a salary like this. There are two superintendents who make this amount. They both have increasing enrollment every year, increasing programs every year, and both of those districts have fund balance in excess of 20% to 30%. So when I'm coming with my concerns, this is not personal except for this district. And when the auditor stood before us, he advised we start making cuts, and this Board of Education has continued to approve more and more and more expenses, even though our revenue is declining. We're losing 7.2 in ESSER. There's $0 in the foundation allowance increase, zero.
Secretary Powell.
Yet we are losing students. So we can approve whatever we want. I have a question for legal, if, Madam President, if you would please get an answer. What happens to this contract if the district goes defunct and we collapse and we're taken over? How much of this contract do we owe?
I will get that answer, and I just would appreciate, like, because you were off about the first numbers that you provided, if we don't have a factual, like, just let Dr. Gistinger put the numbers in the Google Drive so that we're not putting out wrong
I
information.
agree, we should have been provided with that, and that's why I clarified. So this
Okay.
contract
Can
is
we call
well
the vote,
over
please? Thank
$1.5
you.
million.
Can we call the vote?
Davis,
Yes.
Kennard. McCarthy,
Yes.
Evans,
No.
Piles,
No.
Wester, yes. Laster,
Yes.
motion is approved.
I want to say, I don't even know where to, I need a second, sorry. Okay. Thank you for, the passion, I appreciate it, and the questions, it's just like, sometimes I just feel like we could do it before here, and that's just not for this contract. But, congratulations,
questions
Dr.
for you.
Edmondson, on your contract, and thank you for what you do for the district. I appreciate you, speaking as the board president. I don't know if the board noticed in the board packets that we have board briefs now. Eve has been generous enough. Oh, not in this one? Huh? Oh, yeah, well, moving forward, we will have board briefs, which will be like a one-page document recap of what happened, so maybe board members missed the meeting, and just some
One meeting, please.
key points of what went on at
Use
the.
us. One meeting, please, Miss Evelyn. Thank you.
So yes, you will be seeing board brief recaps in your board packets. I want to thank Mrs. Dunn, she's gone now, but for her presentation. And I want to welcome the new employees to the district that have joined our family. I look forward to their positive contributions. As a board, I hope that we can come together for some type of contribution for a basket for the golf outing. I suggested like a made in Michigan, better made, some type of, but we can hopefully get together to make sure we get that to Mrs. Bales. And I have a raffle, so did everyone in the audience, everyone get a, okay. So once a month, I want to do a raffle for, sorry, y'all got baskets, for, okay. Our community members that are in the audience, thank you for sitting through and supporting. This giveaway is actually, I donated back, put in a raffle ticket for the Yeti cooler. So this person, whoever is the winner, will hopefully be the winner. I am pretty lucky. So you should have a, I'm claiming this is the winning ticket. Yes. Yes. You got it?
Ticket 8496791. Come on down.
What?
Is you?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Right?
You could
That's
pass
right,
it on.
you might win. You might win the alcohol.
Not on record, at least.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, do Eve have the top? Oh, we'll get it. We'll get you together. Okay. All right. That is all I have for tonight. For my portion, I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting. And I just want to work together to continue to move this district forward and be for our students and staff. So thank you, everybody, for coming out. And any comments from the board? Yes.
So just a few things. Thank you, Ms. Kennard and Ms. Wester, for volunteering for the delegate assembly. Just a reminder that registration for ALC is open now. Get on the hotel reservations ASAP because they fill up quickly and then need to be shuttled. So anybody who knows they're going, please let Eve know so that those arrangements can be taken care of. The MASB registration can wait a little while, but anyone who's going, get your hotel, go work with Eve for the hotel reservations. Also, I know we've been talking a lot about the CTE, Madam President. We've heard about a teacher cadet program coming. We've heard through rumors that cosmetology is being eliminated. I just want to bring a request that the Board of Education approves all new classes and has to approve the elimination of any. So if we could, on our next agenda, please get those as action items, not just for CTE, but any courses that are being added or eliminated, so that we can follow the right procedure on that. Also, an estimate and timeline for carpet downstairs at RMS, and if we can just kind of be intentional as leadership to make sure that we are not creating a gap within our own buildings. Be mindful of that because there is some people feeling some kind of way about that. Lastly, we had talked about setting goals. I know that we do the superintendent's evaluation and then we get to the next evaluation and we just kind of go through the motions, but there's no goals. So if you could just let us know when we will discuss those so that we have something to actually evaluate. And then lastly, the board calendar that we talked about. I know all board members are in possession of it, yet we have not adhered to the monthly board duties. So I appreciate that you brought that up, and if that is something that you can include in our packet or email us so that we know as a board what the board responsibilities are each month.
Absolutely, and the goals you were referring to for the superintendent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Wester.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out. Looking forward to working with our new president and moving this district forward. Congratulations on getting Dr. E's contract together. It has been a grueling past 6-7 months. But just looking forward to working with each other, getting on the committees now and getting back and moving our district forward, getting ready for the fall. But thank you again for all those that supported me during my term, and now I'm here to support and help President Laster move us forward. Thank you.
Treasurer McCarthy.
Eagle Nation, thank you for coming out to support the Romulus School Board of Education. Contrary to popular belief, I think we've come a long way aside from just sitting at a board table arguing. I think we are able to have tough conversations and ask tough questions, as well as put together a collaborative effort to continue to move our district forward. I do want to give a special shout out to my dear friend, Madam President Portia Laster, for being a servant leader and taking the time to reach out to us as a board for the little things like our favorite snack at the board table. She did this. She did this out of her own pocket. And even just writing a little note to start her official reign as president. And that says a lot about a leader who will take the time to reach out to you, to check on you, to get your favorite snack or get you flowers. That's a true teammate and somebody that I would love to work with and for any day. So thank you, President Lester.
Thank you. Trustee Evans?
Congratulations to the new hires. Welcome aboard. I want to say this. I am not here to argue. I'm here to bring up points. And anybody that thinks differently, so be it. But I'm here to bring up points. I didn't point fingers at anyone. I'm not shouting at anyone. My feelings, my statements, I had facts, okay? We move forward. Yes, I look forward to working with everyone. Ms. President, it has been a great week. We've been on the phone quite a bit.
Yes,
And I look forward to working with you.
thank you.
That's about it.
Trustee Kennard? Last
you.
but certainly not least.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for reaching out to me during my difficult time. And also to each one of you who individually reached out to my family as well, and it was very much appreciated. And I want everybody to know that this superintendent, Dr. Edmondson, was very instrumental. He called me every day to see if it was something he could do for me personally. And so from the bottom of my heart and from my entire family, I wanted him to know it was very much appreciated, and thank you all. And to those who reached out to me who are part of the district, you know, we thank you very much for that, and it was very welcome. So today I would like to say for the early childhood program that was presented today, it was very informative information, and we look forward as we move forward in developing those programs there. I'd like to congratulate the esteemed Ms. Lester
Thank you, Ms.
on your position, and we look forward to working with you, and also to the rest of the individuals who the board appointed in your positions. We look forward to working with you as well, and with Dr. Edmondson as well. Congratulations on your contract, even though my questions were financially driven. It has nothing to do with him as an individual in terms of what he can accomplish and what he can't. You know, I was very instrumental in bringing him to the district and working with him, and I still will move forward in doing that. But as a duty of a trustee and what our obligations are and the oath that we take, we have to make sure that we have those things in place and we bring those questions forward. It's not a personal. I don't make decisions based on person. I base it on factual information. And making sure now if moving forward we get that information at the table, we have a clear understanding, then you'll get a consensus board, I believe. And I think that we made a good start today in this first meeting, and I can see what greater things will be happening. And so again, Dr. Edmondson, congratulations on your contract. Okay, thank you.
The last but certainly not least, Dr. Edmondson. I guess you're the $1 million man, huh?
Don't even. First, it's a sensitive. It's sensitive. It's a sensitive topic. I mean, considering the last 3 years, it's a sensitive topic that I don't recognize that. Well, I know everybody doesn't recognize it or care about it. That's on them. First, I just wanted to say thank you, just as a person. Okay, I have really appreciated you. You are just a ray of sunshine. You really are. Your personality, bubbly. You're funny. You got a little Patti LaBelle in you, with the hot sauce and the purse and all that kind of craziness. But already you've come with some good ideas, fresh ideas, and that doesn't take away from what any other president has done. You're standing on your own. So I appreciate you just bringing that. You know, we need that enthusiasm. Okay, people believe in enthusiasm. When people come and they're positive, even if they disagree, if they're positive, it's the way that they come off. Okay, you can disagree with me all you want. It's how you come off that makes the person feel a certain kind of way over and over and over. So I just want to thank you for what you're going to do for this board and certainly what you've already done for me. So I just appreciate that. To the collective board, I'll say thank you for my contract. Appreciate it. You know, my son was sending me some stuff, and I'm just glad that, you know, that I show him how I need to be in adverse times, not to go off, not to be upset, none of that. I tried not to take it personal. It is what it is. It's kind of predictable, which I expected. And that's what my father tells me. When you know how people are towards you, then don't be surprised. So I wasn't surprised. I'm happy. I am. I'm happy for the collective. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the community. My team there, I'm just sitting back there smiling. You know, I appreciate you. When you all look at me, I know what you're thinking, and I just feel the support. And those in the community that are in here and outside of here, I appreciate. I feel very valued. Okay, from the community, I feel very valued. Okay, and that's something that you work on. It's not like I was just given that. You work on it. So I just want to thank the community too. Two things that are important to me. And if I were to ask you about my resume, I don't think anybody could tell me what my resume is here as a board. I don't think not one of you could tell me. Okay, can't do it. Okay, but I know what I've done. I know what I do. I know how I've trained for this. Particularly the Urban Superintendent's Academy, 9 months flying to DC to learn from national, well-renowned superintendents. I'm only saying that because I feel like all of us could benefit individually by going to a national convention or something. It's never been done since I've been here. I don't think all 7 need to go, but I think 2 people should probably go to the NASB. I think that's what NASB, School National, because there's 2 of them, 2 organizations. But just go and see and talk and ask people, what is your superintendent? What do you do for your superintendent? And things like that. The thing that I think is important for all of us to know here, because I'm not going to be the last superintendent here, I can tell you that. I'm not going to be the last one. But you never leave somebody with a 1-year contract, ever, ever, okay? You want to talk to Schindler, ask him. He'll tell you, because we all know that. You do a disservice to that person and your community. Your community. People get angst when their superintendent or their principal. Those 2 bodies, when they're not there, or that last year, people ask you about your contract, and you're like, well, I don't know what the board's going to do. People get angst. They like stability, as does the employee. Your last year, you're a lame duck. You can't really bargain. Thank you. Thank you. We worked on this before this year. But we worked on that because that's what you do your second year. That's what you do. Now, I know you're board members, and I appreciate that, but that doesn't mean you understand contracts. Doesn't mean that you know that in your second year you bargain. So when I leave and you bring the next person in and they have a 3-year contract, second year you start again toward the second year because you don't want them to be a lame duck in the community. Because the superintendent and the principals are very, very important. I just need you to know that. I don't want to fight doing that. I'm just like, you guys don't know. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But that's the second year of people's contracts. Same way I do with these folks. I try, even though they have 2 years, it's a little bit different. But you want to negotiate and have that contract set for them. So you bring peace not only to them, to their department, to the community, to the kids, everybody. So I do ultimately want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for not waiting till June. June? Who's going to wait till June? I would not wait because you can't get a job. You cannot get a job doing it in June. You barely get one in February. If I didn't have one in February, I'm leaving. And to all of you, an evergreen clause, let me talk to you about that real fast. Okay, I've had it before. Okay, you can always go back. It gives the person, it rolls it over so that the person always has 3 years. But you as a board have the right in my contract and my former contracts to make a decision and say, we don't want to give you the evergreen, the automatic rollover. So now you're going to have 2 years. Okay, now you have a 2-year contract. Okay, and then if you want to do the evergreen again, that's how that works. Okay, you have the opportunity to say no, and you're not stuck. In fact, when I was in IPSI, I gave up my evergreen clause because I didn't want that. I didn't want it rolling over. I said, I want to leave. Okay, I didn't want the pressure to have to stay every year. Okay, so I just want you to know that it's not something that, oh, you're stuck with me. You're not, and I'm not stuck with you either. We're not stuck. Okay, when you all decide you want to have the conversation about, hey, we don't want to do that anymore, that's fine. Okay, and the last thing, I've said this before, fall apart. It hasn't yet. It hasn't yet. And if it has, we really need to look at why that's the case. But you can't make those kind of statements. They scare people when you talk about, oh, we're gonna this. It hadn't happened yet, and it's not going to happen. And if we have to make some changes, we'll make the changes. But I just ask you to please be careful making those kind of statements that, oh, the district's going to have. I know what happened in 2012 or 2013. I know things do happen. They can happen. Okay? But you can't just talk about that every time something doesn't look right. You say, well, what if? Well, it's a lot of what ifs. So again, thank you, everybody. I feel very happy. I'm exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted. It has nothing to do with this. I just am. But I'll continue working for this district, and I love this place. So thank you so much for the last 4 years. I love Romulus. I love the work that I do, and I get along with even the ones that appears that we don't get along. One-on-one, we talk, we're good. We just get back and we keep doing it. So that's a promise to the community. It's going to be the same. I'm going to keep talking, doing my thing. So thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I just wanted to say, too, just on a note, positive note, you have a family member that's been on your mind or a friend, just give them a call. Just say, hey, thinking about you, love you. Appreciate you guys. Motion to adjourn.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
8:35.
35, thank you.